The Indiana State Capitol houses all three branches of state government. The room you're looking at today is the Supreme Court, the highest court in the state. The justices that sit at this bench hear appeals of criminal cases, civil cases, constitutional questions. They discipline the judges and the lawyers of the state, and when there is a death penalty or a life sentence without parole, those are direct appeals to this bench. This room is also very, very unusual. This space above all in the building is the most original. It has been preserved from 1888, and many things you're looking at have been in use for that long. They are very traditional in here, and they have taken very good care of the furniture and what is on display here. This bench is original. This bench is the scribe's bench. This is where the person sat who wrote down every word that was spoken during an oral argument. Of course, we don't have to do that anymore. We have machines that electronically record and even live webcast the oral arguments from the state website. We have another thing we don't use in here anymore under the bench. For those of you that don't know, this is a spittoon. And the legend is that many years ago, there was one of these that sat at each chair, one for each justice. The tables up here are the tables for the lawyers. You have the lawyer for the appellee, lawyer for the appellant. The podium is where they stand to address the justices, and the justices normally will have many questions for them. Oral arguments only last for about 40 minutes, and then the justices retire to their conference room to talk about the case, to discuss it, and then to vote on their final decision. These chairs are the public gallery, so you can watch it online, or else you can also come in and sit here in person, and these chairs are also original. The carpet in here is a replica of an early carpet, and that carpet lasted for 98 years. When they finally had to replace it, they found a company that could reweave the same patterns and colors, so once again it looks very much like an early carpet in this room. As you look up in the room, you'll notice the sconces, the lights on the wall, and also the chandelier. They have candles at the top. This building in 1888 was one of the most modern and one of the largest buildings in the whole country. They wired it with electricity and then discovered that Indianapolis did not have a power plant that could create enough electricity to light it. So they were very clever, and they created the light fixtures to have electricity and also gas jet candles. So you see the candles at the top of the sconces and also of the chandelier originally were gas jets. Then in the early 1900s, when they built the new power plant, they were able to turn on the electricity. Fortunately for us, the Supreme Court kept the original fixtures, so we get to see what much of the other building also looked like. This coat rack is original. There's a story about it that says it used to sit outside the courtroom, and that anyone who wanted to come in and see a hearing had to leave their coat and their hat and their rifle on this coat rack before they came in. We're not sure that's actually a true story. The walls and the ceilings in here had been painted over and redone several times, but a few years ago, we had historic renovation in here, and the artists came in and took 9 layers of paint off very carefully to discover the original patterns and the original colors, and then they reproduced it, including the 23-karat gold leaf paint that you see on the walls in here. The pictures around the room are former justices from the very beginning of our state in 1816. We're only missing 2 pictures in the entire history of the Supreme Court. Most of them, as you can see, are in black and white. Occasionally, you'll see one that was done in color pencil, and of course, we have one oil painting of Justice Scott, one of our first justices. But again, they're very traditional in here, so as time went on, they decided to stay in keeping and do all of the pictures in black and white, and including our current bench, which are pictured up here in the front. To be a justice on the Supreme Court, once you meet the requirements of being a lawyer and a judge in the state, 3 people who are qualified those names are given to the governor to choose a replacement for someone who has stepped down. The governor chooses, and then the public votes. First every 2 years, then every 10-year term, we do a confirmation vote on our justices. And then at 75, our justices are required to retire. So on behalf of our Supreme Court bench and all of the justices who are looking down on us today, thank you for visiting the Indiana Supreme Court.